last 24 hours. Powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.
Good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, Parshas Vayigash Dalet Taivas Tufshim Pai Vuv, and it's December 24th, Erev Chag 2025. Lemes Puram. On Edge, my name is Gershy Schwarcz, and I am pleased to be your host to bring you the latest and breaking news that happened since I was here last on Edge. Well, there was open miracles, some tragedies, and, well, interesting pieces of news, but there is a piece of funny news for the end. So if you wait, you will get to hear it. Not too long. Okay, before we do that, let me first thank you all for those of you who called me and left me, and still calling me, leaving me messages constantly with letting me know what your preference is. Whether you want me to come up early morning or you want me to come up in the evening. Well, there's a tie because everyone wants something else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean more towards the morning hours, Eastern Standard Time, about 9 a.m. That's when we're going to do this. We're working on that right now, and we will get back to that time again. We were reporting 9 a.m., but then we will also work on a second segment, which I already said several times on this show that I will do, and I'm working on it. So it's going to happen. We're going to have 2 shows a day. It's going to make it shorter, sweeter, and obviously for those of you who are interested in knowing what's going on in the world, don't be worried about the news. Always wear the umbrella of Betuchen. Let it all rain on you. I'm here to report all what's raining on you, and just whiff it away. Let it go with the wind. Yeah, and believe in Hashem. Okay, Protobyte. Thank you so much for being a sponsor, a long-time loyal sponsor, and they do custom-made websites and software for your business. Call them on the number that you see below on the screen. WhatsApp them on this number as well. And for those of you in America who are listening to this, 347-354-1237. Okay. A tragedy happened in Pennsylvania today. 2 people are dead. 2 women are dead. 20 others are injured in a hospital. A massive gas explosion destroyed the Silver Lake nursing home in Bristol, Pennsylvania yesterday. The blast was so powerful it collapsed the floors. It trapped residents down in the basement. The most shocking part is that the utility crews were already on the scene. They were checking a reported gas leak right when the building blew up. Rescue teams are digging through the rubble yesterday, and right now they're desperately trying to find 5 more people who are still missing. What a tragedy. Now, remember yesterday's report on Edge about the army chief of Libya whose plane went missing and then crashed? Well, he died, along with the others on board. His plane crashed near the capital of Turkey. Investigators are at the scene trying to find out why the plane went down. It's a major blow to the military leadership there. Okay, yeah, we don't know who was behind this, but we're not going to know, I guess. In the north of Israel, there's also tension happening right now. The IDF launched a fresh wave of airstrikes today against Hezbollah targets in southern and northeastern Lebanon. They're hitting weapon storage sites very hard. This happens as major deadline runs out. We all know the deadline's running out at the end of this month. The US ceasefire deal says Hezbollah must disarm and move north of the Litani River by the end of the year, which is now 2025. That is only 1 week away. Defense officials, well, less than a week. Defense officials are warning if the terrorists don't leave voluntarily in the next few days, the IDF is ready to launch a full-scale operation to force them out. Something rare happened in the skies today as well. Reports say that an IDF Nachshon plane flew over the water right outside Beirut. These are special intelligence aircraft. It is the first time one has been spotted there since the war began. Based on yesterday's reporting, the Lebanese army claims they are neutral, but the pictures tell a different story. A military funeral was held today in southern Lebanon for Ali Abdullah. We reported it yesterday. He was a Hezbollah terrorist eliminated by the IDF 2 days ago. The Lebanese army claims he was one of their soldiers. But at the funeral, men in Lebanese army uniforms were seen carrying the yellow Hezbollah coffin on their shoulders. It seems the line between the army and the terrorists is obviously gone. Hezbollah is playing mind games. Well, with that as well. Today, the terrorist group released old footage from exactly 29 years ago. It shows a bomb attack on an IDF unit in southern Lebanon in 1996. Captain Yossi Levy and Sergeant Nir Gandelberg, Hashem Yinkanduma, lost their lives in that attack. The terrorists released the video today to celebrate the anniversary of the tragedy. Hashem Yinkanduma. The ghost of Ron Arad is haunting Lebanon again. A mysterious disappearance has shaken the security forces in Beirut. Ahmad Shukr, or Shukre, a retired Lebanese officer, disappeared completely about a week ago. Reports say he was lured to another country and then kidnapped. Lebanese investigators are pointing the finger directly at the Mossad, obviously. They believe this is an Israeli operation to get answers about a 39-year-old mystery. Shukr, whatever his name is not just a random officer. He is linked to the terror networks that captured Israeli navigator Ron Arad in 1986. Arad ejected from his plane over southern Lebanon and was taken by the Amal terrorists back then. He was never seen again. Intelligence officials believe Shukr knows exactly what happened to Arad after he was captured. Hezbollah is furious and is demanding an investigation. Obviously, Israel has refused to comment. Bad news from the south in Gaza. The quiet is over. Israeli officials accused Hamas of violating the ceasefire agreement today, the truce from Trump. An explosion hit an IDF vehicle in Rafah, wounding an officer. Jerusalem says the terrorist broke the terms of the truce and vowed that Israel will not let this pass. The IDF is now preparing to strike back. The terrorists are trying to talk their way out of it, obviously. CNN Hamas official Mahmoud Mardawi claims they did not attack the troops today. He says the explosion was caused by an old mine that Israelis planted in the ground years ago. He claims they already told the mediators it was an accident. Israel rejected this excuse. This violation destroys the last hope for the stalled negotiations. Talks were already stuck because Hamas refuses to disarm unless Israel promises to end the war permanently. We also learned today how the terrorists Yamach Shimon, Hamas, kept fighting for so long. How did they do that? Israel confirmed that Hamas military wing received tens of millions of dollars in the last year alone. This information came out after the IDF eliminated a key terrorist named Al-Hay Zakaut. He was a top official in the finance department of the Hamas military wing. Despite the massive pressure of the war, Zakaut managed to raise huge sums of money. He transferred millions directly to the gunmen, giving them the means to keep attacking Yidden, even while Gaza was being destroyed. Internal fighting in Gaza is getting ugly. Hamas is now kidnapping the wives of rival commanders. Shuki Abu Nazira, after Abu Shabab died, who leads the Popular Forces militia in East Khan Yunis, confirmed that Hamas terrorists raided his home in Deir al-Bala. He says they took his wife and ordered his daughter to come in for an interrogation. He says he will keep fighting them, Hamas, even if they kill his entire family. And the militia leader in Rafiah is also threatening Hamas too. Ghassan al-Danini is the new commander of the Popular Forces there after Abu Shabab died. He says Hamas broke the rules by touching their wives. He warned them directly, "You brought the women into this. There will be consequences. Remember this well," he ended. Political drama is brewing in Jerusalem. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is quietly preparing for the possibility of early elections. Reports say he instructed his advisor to be ready for a vote next June. That is 4 months earlier than required by law. This contradicts what Netanyahu is telling the public. He keeps saying the government is stable and the budget will pass without issues. But behind closed doors, the growing tension in his coalition is forcing him to make a backup plan. In other news, if you heard yesterday's On Edge report, you already heard about the deal between Israel, Greece and Cyprus, right? The president of Turkey is furious again. President Erdogan, the dictator, attacked the recent meeting between Israel, Greece and Cyprus. He warned that no matter what agreement they sign, Turkey will not change its policy in the Mediterranean Sea. He insisted that he will not allow anyone to take Turkey's rights away. Then he turned his anger against the Israeli state. He said Israel has no moral standing because of the war. He accused the IDF of killing 70,000 Palestinians, didn't differentiate between combatants and civilians, and called the Israeli meeting empty noise. Erdogan is talking tough, but the pipeline deal is flowing right past him. Let's talk about Australia. Shocking details are coming out of Australia. Remember the Bondi Beach terrorist attack that killed 15 Kedoshim, including a 10-year-old child? I keep on saying this because it breaks my heart. Terrible tragedy, but also openism happened. We reported it yesterday. The Bondi Beach terrorist Sajid Akram owned a legal arsenal of 6 rifles and guns. He applied for a gun license back in the year 2000. It took him 3 years to get approved, even though it usually takes a few weeks. But the delay was not because of safety. Australian officials admit the long wait was just a bureaucratic error, not a security check. The system failed to flag the danger, and eventually they handed him the license anyway, which is the license to kill. While Trump is fighting to eliminate ISIS leaders and cells abroad, Al-Qaeda's leader just issued a global call for attacks on Jews and Americans. He openly praised terror and urged followers worldwide to kill wherever possible. Radical Islam is a threat to humanity. But us, as Yidden, we know they can threaten all they want. V'hi sha'amdu. Remember the song? V'hi sha'amdu. Sing it to yourselves. Remind yourselves who actually runs the world. We're not going anywhere. Okay, as you already heard here on Edge yesterday, the crazy story that shook the English Jewish community, which calls for a clear hagoimel, I would say. Open miracles. 3 Islamic terrorists are going to prison for one of the darkest plots we have ever seen in the UK's history. They planned a mass slaughter of Yidden in Manchester using machine guns. They wanted to kill children, the elderly, and everyone. They even said that killing children would be okay because even if they're innocent, they will go straight to heaven. But they never fired a single shot because they were walking into a trap set by police from day one. See that? Mamash an open miracle. Here is how it went down. The ringleader, the main guy, Walid Sadawi, thought he was building a terror cell right there in Manchester. He found a man online who he believed was a fellow extremist. He trusted this man. He told him everything. He told him he wanted to import AK-47 assault rifles to kill Jews at shuls, schools, synagogues, and supermarkets, and even a march that he knew that was happening because he said he opened up many fake Facebook accounts to connect to local Jews in the communities and find out their schedules to know when to strike. But the man he was talking to was not a terrorist. He was an undercover police officer, known only as Farouk. For months, Farouk played the role perfectly. He let Sadawi believe he could smuggle military-grade weapons into the country from France. They even traveled together to the White Cliffs of Dover to watch the port security, thinking they were planning the delivery route. Sadawi used code words calling the guns, the rifles, goldfinches, and the bullets birdseed. The trap snapped shut on May 8th at a hotel parking lot in Bolton. Sadawi went there to meet a contact and pick up the weapons. He opened the trunk of the car and saw what he thought were real machine guns. He reached in to take them. Then is when the doors flew open. Armed police officers swarmed the car and threw him to the ground. The guns were deactivated props. The whole delivery was a stage show designed to catch him red-handed. Police also arrested his partner, Ammar Hussein, a former soldier who was ready to be the muscle for the attack. They also convicted Sadawi's brother, Bilal, who knew about the plan, and held £70,000 in cash, English currency, to support the family after the attack. The jury at Preston Crown Court saw all the evidence yesterday. They heard the recordings where Sadawi said he wanted to kill young, old, and women, and any Christian victims would just be a bonus. They are now off the streets for good. Baruch Hashem. Kaim Yevdi Kalavecho Hashem. Look, what an open miracle. We have to thank Hashem. Ben Shagoimel, I would say. 3 terrorists in Toronto face nearly 80 charges after a plot police say targeted women and children and Yidden in Canada and Toronto. Officers say the group tried to kidnap victims off the street twice this year. On May 31st, 3 armed men tried to force a woman into a vehicle in Toronto. A driver stopped to help, and the suspects fled. On June 24th, men in balaclavas jumped out of an Audi SUV in Mississauga. They tried to lure 2 women, then chased them. The victims escaped when a passerby intervened. Police raided the suspects' homes and found guns, including AR-style rifles. One suspect, Walid Khan, faces separate terrorism charges. Police say he plotted murder for ISIS, the Islamic State, and sent them crypto. He is also accused of conspiring with an Allah Karim. Now, the part that has people angry, one suspect, Osman Azizov, was released on bail on Friday. He faces 19 charges for kidnapping, assault, and weapons. The main suspect, Khan, was already on probation for violent crimes when he was arrested. CIJA warns that this is a grave danger, a threat to the Jewish Canadians. They say Canada cannot afford a lack of urgency. Is Zelensky ready to make a deal? Well, the war in Europe might be ending. President Zelensky is asking for an urgent direct meeting with President Trump. He says their teams have made huge progress on the administration's new 20-point, well, it's up to a 20-point right now, 20-point peace plan. Now he wants to sit down with Trump to finalize the deal. The plan would freeze the battle lines and end active combat. Zelensky even offered a major concession today. He stated he was willing to withdraw his troops from the Eastern Front, but only if Russia pulls back as well to create a demilitarized zone. This is a shift from his previous demand to just hold the line. However, Russia is still demanding that Ukraine leave the entire Donetsk region completely. If this deal goes through, it changes everything. Panic in the Russian capital. 2 police officers were killed today by a suicide bomber. It happened right near the spot where a top general was eliminated just 2 days ago. The officers approached a suspicious man, and he detonated and exploded himself, killing himself and them together. Russia claims Ukraine is also behind the assassination of General Vanil Sorvarov earlier this week. We reported it here on Edge. It seems the war is moving deep into the streets of Moscow. Well, let's see if Zelensky is really serious about ending this war. Maybe something will move, and maybe in that case, the dictator from Russia will also end the war. Agree to end the war, at least. Like I had a conversation here on Spin the Edge with Shragi Stern, who's we both dove. We were speaking very deeply about we were going very deeply into the whole idea of whether who is at fault, who is stopping the war from ending. We came to a conclusion that really we don't know, but a dictator will never end the war. Like Putin will never end the war. He doesn't care. But Zelensky has a chance. Maybe. Tension ran high at the UN Security Council today. The United States and Iran, exchanged sharp words over the nuclear deal. President Trump's representative, Morgan Ortagus, laid down the law. She said America is ready for formal talks, but only if the regime is serious. She made one condition. One very clear condition. There can be absolutely no uranium enrichment in Iran. The Iranian ambassador pushed back. He complained that Washington is not being fair and said demanding zero enrichment is a non-starter. Before we continue, let's thank our sponsors, the Trepper Plan, and Protobyte, obviously, yeah. The Trepper Plan, Reb David Wanunu. You can email Reb David Wanunu on david@thetrepperplan.com. Call him at 845-414-8100. He's a specialist when it comes to business guidance, knowing how to get your business to the next level, to make it money. Shawarma Delight if you're hungry. Well, they're open every single night till 10:30, off exit 14, 2 minutes off the exit, next to Bingo, 26 Spring Valley Marketplace. Mention on Edge to get a free drink when you buy yourself a shawarma. Thursday night, they have chulent, yapchik, and all kind of good stuff. All kind of delicious, good stuff, I said, whatever. Good food. Mention on Edge, get a free drink, and obviously you can also order online, sdny.store. Why S Capital Group? The answer is yes, they say. You can borrow money if you want to buy a building for an investment. And a no closing cost loan, call them. 718-831-2168. Find out for yourself. Arrive Express, take a taxi anywhere you go. Now, in this busy season, Arrive Express will arrive and express. So you can trust them. 845-622-1111. Arrive Express. 845-254 from Monroe. 1111. Okay, let's continue, shall we? A federal judge just handed a big win to New York State. The court rejected a request to block the green light law. This is the law that allows illegal immigrants to get driver's license. The Justice Department sued months ago, arguing that the state law attacks federal authority, but the judge Nardaki, whatever his name is, threw out the case. The judge ruled that the Trump administration failed to prove that the law conflicts with federal rules or discriminates against the government. New York is handing out licenses illegal, and the feds just hit a red light. America's shutting the door on Europe's speech police. Listen to this. The State Department is imposing a visa ban on 5 European officials, as announced by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. The reason is censorship. Rubio says these officials are forcing American social media companies to block views that Europe dislikes. He called their actions extreme censorship. Europe is furious about the ban. French President Emmanuel Macron, the one who got a slap in his face, remember that, condemned the move, saying America is using force against their officials. President Trump and Chicago. President Trump just hit a wall in Chicago. The Supreme Court issued an emergency order today, blocking him from deploying the National Guard. The president wanted to send troops into the city to help arrest illegal immigrants, but the judges said no. They ruled that the operation cannot move forward while the legal battle with state governors is still going on. This is a major defeat for the administration's plan to enforce immigration laws inside American cities. Speaking of which, we all know that there is a very big case, an investigation going on right now in Minnesota And Tim Waltz is in trouble because of the fraud, the massive fraud case of millions of dollars stolen by the Somalian, I would say, asylum seekers, immigrants, including Ilan Omar, who is in trouble. A Delaware state trooper died a hero on Tuesday after a shooting attack at the DMV. The trooper was working at the front desk in Wilmington when a gunman walked in and shot him. The injured trooper pushed a worker out of the way to save them before the gunman shot him a second time. He died later at the hospital, sadly. Another officer shot and killed the 44-year-old attacker. State officials called the trooper's actions an act of pure heroism that stopped a worse tragedy. A small plane lands itself safely with the Autoland system in first use in emergency situations. Listen to this. A small Beechcraft King airplane safely performed the first ever emergency landing using Garmin's Autoland system, activating automatically after a rapid loss of cabin pressure near Denver, Colorado on December 20th, 2 days ago, with 2 people on board who walked away unharmed, proving the system's capability in the real-world scenario. The Autoland system, designed for pilot incapacitation. If let's say, for Khalil V'chas, pilot becomes, unavailable, they have a little button there, and the system finds the nearest suitable airport, well, in that case, Rocky Mountain Metropolitan Airport, and lands the aircraft while communicating with air traffic control, making sure that they can successfully land the plane safely and save the people on board. What an amazing technology this is. It actually was first shown to, I think, CBS in 2019. We hope it comes to every single aeroplane in existence. What an amazing technology this is. Save lives. Okay, today's facts brought to you by The Click. Wait until the very end for the funny story that I promised I'm going to tell you. Today's Yortzeit is of Reb Motche Pinchas Chaim ben Rabbi Newman Avrum Yaakov from Tates, the Rov of Elizabeth, New Jersey, from 1908 till 1995. That's when he passed away. Today, in Dalet Taivas. Also, the Yortzeit today is of Rabbi Yeshia Eisel Charev from Slonim. He was nifta in 1872. And Reb Moshe Zev from Bialystok was nifta in 1729 on Dalet Taivas. Today is the Yortzeit. May all the neshamas have an aliyah. And again, I want to remind you, it's after Chanukah, the Kedoshim from the Bondi beach attack, and also the people that are in hospital that need our tefillas. Please remember them and do something kind in their names, the ones who died. Al Kiddush Hashem. Remember also a very important thing that I heard on Shabbos, that our job is not to be apologetic. Stop being apologetic. Be proud of who you are. Proud of being Jewish. That's what saves lives. Proud of being Jewish. Don't try to intimidate. Don't try to become intimidated and convince them, oh, we're kind people, we're good people. You don't have to tell them anything. You don't have to tell them anything. Just be proud of who you are and do the things proudly. This is Chabad's message, and obviously it happened right there. So what did they do a day later? They lit menorahs and they put on tefillin, and they did so much more kindness, spread more kindness around the world, dafka, in light of this terrible tragedy. Remember the report about the man in Ghana? On Edge, a while ago I reported here about a person who believes a flood is coming, a mabul is coming at the end of this month, end of December. He even built a wooden boat. I wouldn't call it a taiva, but he built a taiva, exactly according to the measurements. He believes that he got a Neviah, that Hashem spoke to him and told him exactly how to build it and where to find the materials. Now his followers are actually acting on it. Crowds are traveling from Benin tonight, well, just to grab a spot in the Ibo Noach's Ark. He calls himself Ibo Noah. But we know this will not happen, because Hashem clearly says in the Torah in Parshas Noach, "V'lo yeh oid mabel l'shachas u'uretz," and there shall never again be a flood to destroy the earth. And with that, my friends, nothing can destroy the earth. You know what can protect the earth? You and the Torah that you learn. And with that, my friends, stay informed and stay on edge, and we will see you Be'ezer Hashem Yisborach tomorrow. And like I said, thank you all for calling me and giving me the idea of the times of when you prefer I come on, and I will take this very seriously and take it in consideration. But again, like I said, I'm probably planning to do it in the morning, the early mornings, Eastern Standard Time. You can always call me for feedback. The number is right over here, 845-671-1775. Press 5 to leave me a message. If you ever want to be a sponsor, and believe me, a sponsor is a worthy thing. Again, the Yiddish program is a lot more followers than this. a lot more, and spread the message kindly. Let's build the English program as well. The Yiddish one has already been around for almost more than half a year. I think more than half a year. Since Pesach, since Pesach. Anyway, my friends, we'll see you tomorrow, okay? Thank you, bye.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.